Right, today we're going to reflect on ST 51.16, the Chatuka Appasutta Sutta, the Fourth Discourse on Little Learning, A 4.6. The title Appasutta comes from Appa, meaning little, Sutta, here, that which is heard, meaning learning. This word comes from the first of 4 points given by the Buddha. So this title comes from the Sutta teaching itself. The theme here is learning and spiritual progress. There are 4 ways that people learn. Some have little learning, and they don't progress by the learning. The little that they learn does not help. Number 2, this person has little learning, but he has progress by the learning. So the little that he learns helps him to become a better person, to be stronger in the Dhamma. Number 3, he has great learning, but he has not progressed by his great learnings. So this great learning doesn't help. And number 4 is the best of all, the one with great learning who has progressed by his learning. Okay? So these are the 4 kinds of people. And there's lots of notes here, you can read by yourself. I'm going to go straight into the sutta. This is from the Anguttara Nikaya. So, of course, in this case, the thesis is given, and also some teachings are also given to explain the thesis, the main points. The translation is given on page 62, Chatuka Appasutta Sutta, the Fourth Discourse on Little Learning, A 4.6. Bhikshus, there are these 4 kinds of persons found in the world. What are the 4? 1. One of little learning who has not progressed by his learning. 2. One of little learning who has progressed by his learning. 3. One of great learning who has not progressed by his learning. And number 4, one of great learning who has progressed by his learning. And then the Buddha goes on to explain each of these 4 kinds of person. Paragraph 2. Here the Buddha explains the first kind of person. And what bhikshus is a person of little learning who has not progressed by his learning. Here bhikshus, a certain person, has little learning about the following. Okay, what follows here are the 9 kinds of teachings. The Navanga Sattu Sasana, the teaching of the Buddha, or the teacher's teaching in 9 parts, on the 9-fold teaching of the Buddha. Number 1, the discourses of sutta. Okay, so this refers to like the one that we are studying now. Suttas, they're usually in prose. Okay, so of course some suttas are kind of they have mixed genre. So usually here sutta refers to prose teaching. And then you have the songs. These are just kind of figurative terms. Song meaning something beautiful, like a poem, and it can be sung, can be recited if you want to. And these are called geya. Okay, so we have some information on these teachings in the notes. I think it's good to kind of be familiar with them. Let me just look up the notes and tell you the page. Okay, this actually is section 2. Alright, now the discourses are the prose passages. You have like Sutta Nipata prose passages. There are not too many in Sutta Nipata prose passages. The Nidesa. Now the Nidesa is a special work. There are 2 parts. The Mahanidesa, Chula Nidesa. They are actually canonical commentaries on the Sutta Nipata. And also on the Rhinoceros Sutta. And the Vinaya is also included here. Oh, by the way, the word sutta also means a Vinaya rule. So the word sutta has different meanings. You have to look at the context. And then you have the Vibhanga. This is one of the very important books of the Vinaya, which is very helpful in explaining the suttas. So it's also called a sutta. And any title Pali work that has got the word sutta attached to it usually is also a sutta. Now Geya are poems, the mixed prose and verse. For example, you have the very first chapter of the Samyutta Nikaya, the Sagata Vagga. You have poems and some explanation in prose. And then you have the Kasi Bharadwaja Sutta, the very famous discourse given in Samyutta Nikaya, in Sutta Nipata SN 1.4. Then next one is Vyakarana. Vyakarana are kind of long expositions. They are actually suttas, but they focus on one particular subject. For example, on karma, or on rebirth, and so on. And then you have the very familiar Gatha. Gatha simply meaning verses. Of course, the most famous of these would be the Dhammapada. Then you have the Thera Gatha, Theri Gatha, the Sutta Nipata, and a number of other works in the Khuddaka Nikaya. Number 5, Udana. Udana are the inspired utterances or verses of uplift. They are, especially in this case, the Udana itself. Now, occasionally you do get single Udanas kind of found in the suttas itself. Then you have a special work called Itivuttaka, the sayings, or the thus said. This is compiled by the Kujutara, the hunchback, kind of a servant of the Queen Samawati, who later became a nun, I think. Anyway, she memorized all these teachings, and she kind of collected them, and this became a famous collection. And then you have the Jataka, the birth stories. Interestingly, you can also find such stories in the suttas. For example, there is one in the Kuttadanta Sutta, and a very famous canonical Jataka is the Mahasudassana Sutta, and you have the Mahagovinda Sutta, and of course the Jataka verses. These are the canonical Jatakas, the stories of the Buddha's past life. I suppose works like the Apadana, which are stories of the Arahats' past lives, can come under this category, or they can come under verses, because they are actually verses. They are not mentioned here because they are late works. And then category 8, you have Abhuta Dhamma. Abhuta Dhamma. Abhuta means extraordinary. Dhamma, he means marvels, events. These are special kind of inspiring stories of power and miracles, especially in the lives of the Buddha and the saints. So they usually show certain qualities of that particular saint. For example, I've just finished translating the Abhibu Sutta. Abhibu is the right-hand monk of the Sikhi Buddha, the 5th Buddha in the past from our present Buddha. So he is able to transmit his voice over the 1,000 world system. In other words, our universe and slightly beyond. So he has that special ability of, if you like, in modern terms, like transmitting radio-like, his teachings, and a lot of people and beings can hear him in that sense, over a wide area. So that is an extraordinary marvel. So there will be a Buddha Dhamma. And the last one, number 9, Vedala, answers to questions. Okay, this is different from the Vyakarana in the sense that Vyakarana is a whole work by itself, like a monogram, whereas the Vedala is a catechism, question answer. Got the most famous ones are the Mahavedala, Chula Vedala, and also the Samadhiti Sutta and the Mahapunama Sutta. So there you are, these are the 9 categories or 9 limbs of the teacher's teaching found in the sutta itself, this 9-fold classification. So here, what the Buddha is saying is there are those who do not know much of these teachings, the canonical teachings, if you like. So then the Buddha goes on, section 3. Of the little he has learned, he knows neither its meaning nor its truth, nor does he practice the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. Such a person is one of little learning who has not progressed by his learning. Right? So, of course, this wouldn't be of any advantage in this case. Not much wisdom and not much progress. Also notice here the Buddha talks about meaning and truth. Right? So we have to hear what does this story mean, and what is the reality that it points to, that it tries to teach us. In other words, for example, the first noble truth, the meaning, there is suffering, and the truth is that we're also in that state, and how do we reflect on this truth as a truth? Right? Now, then the second category, this is section 4. And what bhikshus is a person of little learning who has progressed by his learning. Here, bhikshus, a certain person is of little learning about the following. So here 9 categories again. This person knows a little bit of the discourses, the suttas, the songs, the gaya, the expressions, vyakarana, the verses, gatha, the inspired utterances, vidana, the sayings, itivuttaka, the birth stories, jataka, the extraordinary marvels of Buddha Dhamma, and the questions and answers, the catechisms, Vedala. Of that little learning, he knows both its meaning and its truth, and he practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. So here, this is a wonderful person. He knows a little bit, but he practices. For example, he hears teachings about impermanence, then he reflects on impermanence, he aspires to be a stream winner. So you don't need to know much, really. But you can still progress. Such a person is one of little learning who has progressed by his learning. A third kind of person is section 6. And what bhikshus is a person of great learning who has not progressed by his learning. Here bhikshus, a certain person is of great learning in the following: the discourses, the songs, the expositions, the verses, the inspired utterances, the sayings, the birth stories, the extraordinary marvels, and questions and answers. Of that great learning, he knows neither its meaning nor its truth, nor does he practice the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. Such a person is of great learning who has not progressed by his learning. So here we have the example of, say, an elderly monk or elderly teacher who seems to have known much, but he comes up with some strange ideas about the Dhamma, which shows that he actually lacks fundamental understanding of those teachings despite knowing so much. So, for example, a very notorious case is in Sri Lanka. You have teachers who say that the word anicca, the term anicca, and this spell is A-N-I-C-C-H-A, means not getting what you desire, what you wish for, icha. But then, of course, we know it's the wrong transliteration, because the Sinhalese have a habit of adding a H, ch becomes CH, and ch with the plosive become CHH or CCH. So you have this problem of mixing up the meaning of the word. So the person is not very familiar with Roman letters. He says icha, he thinks that icha means desire, anicca so means without desire. So he thinks that, oh, this is what anicca really means. It means that you won't get what you want. But there is nothing in the sutta to substantiate, to support this kind of wrong view. So here is where you have someone with great learning, but it's not really progressed by that learning. So we have to be very careful here how we talk about the Dhamma. We have to examine the Dhamma more carefully. We have to reflect on it. We have to look at the basic teachings. We have to be good in language, in fact, understand the nature of how to transliterate all these Pali words properly from Pali into Sinhalese, into English, into Thai, into Burmese, and so on. And the last one, section 8, this is the fourth kind of person, is the best kind of person here. And what bhikshus is a person of great learning who has progressed by his learning. Here bhikshus, a certain person has great learning in the following: the discourses, the songs, the expositions, the verses, the inspired utterances, the sayings, the birth stories, the extraordinary marvels, and the questions and answers. Of that great learning, he knows both its meaning and its truth, and he practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. Such a person of great learning, such a person is one of great learning who has progressed in his learning. Then the sutta closes with a set of verses, with 5 verses. If one has but little learning, but not mentally still in conduct, they blame him on both counts, the conduct and in learning too. So here we see a summary of the teaching. One who has only a little learning, but is mentally well still in conduct, they praise him for his virtue, and his learning is complete. So notice, even the person knows little is kind of praised both ways. One who has great learning but not well still in conduct, they blame him for his conduct, and his learning is incomplete too. One who has great learning and well still in conduct, they praise him both for his conduct and his learning. Greatly learned, the Dhamma bearer, wise disciple of the Buddha, a gem of Jambu river gold, who is worthy to blame him at all. Even the Devas praise him, and he is praised by Brahma too. So here we see this last verse is talking about those of great learning, especially Arahats, and they also practice well, they have attained awakening. So they are like Jambu river gold. So this is one of the finest gold in Buddha's time. So this is he's said to be precious, beautiful, like this kind of gold. So there you are. These are the 4 kinds of person. So you can have little learning, but if you practice, you are to that extent good. You will progress. Okay? Or you have great learning and you also practice well. That is also good because you are able to teach the Dhamma. Okay? So both ways, the person of little learning but good practice, great learning, good practice, they both progress on the path. But if you have command of great learning, you're able to teach the Dhamma, you can benefit others too. So do reflect on these suttas, lots of notes to read, and aspire to be the fourth kind of person, great learning and also great in practice. So now let us close with a short reflection. Having listened to this sutta, may we aspire to be wise even in this life itself. By all the good karma we have done, studying the sutta, keeping the precepts, and practicing meditation, may we be blessed with good health, joy, wisdom, and the courage to aspire at least to stream winning in this life itself. And may those who are close to us and our families and friends to be well and happy. May they too be close to the Dhamma. May those who are practicing the Buddha's teaching to taste their fruit in this life itself. And by the power of the three jewels, to may those who have difficulty, those who are lost, to find their way to the path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.